welcome back. This is per Avion, the first series of updates that I've been working on since the release of the demo a few days ago. So I'm still waiting for feedback and for people to tell me what they think. The project is still going ahead, so let's talk a bit about what I've done. You may notice to start with that the turning looks a bit smoother, and that's something I've really been working on to kind of hone in on. The dive and the climb speeds, the forward momentum of the aircraft, just trying to make it feel a little more grounded and definitely smoother than it was, because it ended up being a little jittery in the demo. I was also working on this transition to the bomb aim camera. It's now much smoother than it was before, especially going back to the flight camera. You may also notice in the bottom left corner a very nice looking fuel gauge that actually reacts to the level of fuel dynamically. Nice, I just got blown out of the sky there, but I managed to get the little machine gunner. So what I mean by that is that the fuel levels now aren't just a timer, they react dynamically to the way that you're flying the plane. Real aircraft will burn through fuel quicker if you're climbing, or they'll burn less fuel if you're diving and using gravity to gain speed. And this flight engine now kind of replicates that somewhat, and the fuel gauge will represent that accurately instead of just being on a timer. So hopefully encourage some thoughtful flying by the players. You know, I like the idea of sort of building this tension of trying to complete missions while managing your fuel as kind of like a resource that you have to maintain in order to get home. You'll notice also as I've flown up there that the pitch of the engine has gone down and the speed decreased, and now you've flown higher, the engine has cut out entirely. That's because early aircraft engines were very dependent on high levels of air in order to function. So if you climb too high, your engine would begin to stall. It's also just a bit of a neat trick to stop people from just flying up forever. But it's very fun. Eventually I'd like a little mechanic where you have to manually start the engine as you fall out of the sky, just to add that extra bit of tension. And finally, probably the most obvious thing, but it's now in widescreen instead of a 1-to-1 aspect ratio. I did like the idea of it, but given that this is a flight game, I think you need to have a wider view of things, so you can just appreciate the scenery, but also just for the sake of kind of situational awareness. So as much as I did want to go with a retro perspective, 16:9 does work better. Now we're flying towards one of the ships. I've improved the smoke bloom, and you'll notice also that the machine gunners on the ships are much more dangerous than the ones on the ground. They've actually been juiced up a little bit to dissuade you from trying to attack the boats, which kind of act as a bit of a soft block. Oh, there we go. Bye-bye. Yeah, so that is everything that I have managed to do in the last couple of days. I would love to get some feedback on the demo, so if you have any free time, why don't you give it a go? Alright, take care now. Bye.